Good evening, everybody. You know what's funny about kids? They say the funniest things. I'm gonna start this video off by a funny thing one of my kids, or both my kids, did the other day. We have twin girls. They're 5 years old. So one of them, we overhear them talking out in the living room, says to the other one, "Whoever dies, people can't see you." So then the other one says to her, "Okay, I'll die behind the TV." Is that not just funny? Yeah, that is hilarious. So, what this video is about is how the elitists come in with their lending and IMF and all that, put a country that is in dire straits financially into even more dire straits financially by giving them a huge credit card, etc. loan that they already know they can't pay back. So my first and perfect example is Greece. The people of Greece rioted as soon as they were told they're going to go into this bailout. They didn't want it, don't need it, leave it alone. Oh, sorry, the guy that you voted for and his party has decided against the will of you people, kind of like they do in all countries, including our own, and went ahead with the bailout package. But as part of that bailout package, they were told you need to implement A, B, C, D, E, F, G austerity measures in order to secure this loan, because we want to make sure you guys can pay this loan back at interest, of course. So they went ahead with it. And a little while ago, probably a couple months ago, I want to say, maybe a month ago, I don't know, the Prime Minister of Greece, the same guy who sold the people out and got the loan in the first place, said, listen, and he's talking basically to the IMF and the EU, because they did like a little joint loans whatever situation with them, and said, we're not going to be able to make the payment yet. We need you to extend the loan. In other words, give us a little time to make some payments on this thing. We're not able to do it. And they did implement the austerity measures that was requested, and they still couldn't pay back the loan. Imagine that. So here's another interesting thing here. This chick, if I remember correctly, I think, isn't she the next one who they're trying to push into the IMF seat? Let me just check this out. Yeah, May 20th, 2011. European support rising for Lagarde's IMF bid. Okay, just want to make sure this is the same chick. It is, as I suspected. Now remember, this guy Strauss, whatever his name is, alleged rapist. It's fake. It never happened. Guaranteed it. Simply because if this guy is about to get on a plane and he's nabbed by, of all places, New York, the financial corrupt center of the world, Goldman Sachs, no one ever got arrested, even handcuffs. JP Morgan, same thing. Citigroup, Bank of America, you name it, they defrauded heavily, all of those guys, municipal bonds in our states in this country, and the Security Exchange, I guess, oversees that, of course. And of course, that we'll settle. Can we settle? Hell yeah, you can settle. Come on down. Security Exchange, the place you can go if you don't want to get a lawsuit filed against you and you don't want to go to jail and you don't want to do time, just offer to settle. So what their business model is profit, 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 and we know we're committing fraud, we know we're committing actual felonies, but the profits are so huge, in the billions and billions of dollars, even per quarter, that who the hell cares if we settle with the SEC for $800 million? Duh. It's part of the profit business model we have. We can't make those kind of billions of dollars in profit unless we commit fraud and unless we are felons in doing such a thing. But we know the consequence is simply a little, not even a slap on the wrist, not even a day in court. Simply, let's settle out of court. Okay, no charges filed, and there may be like you can't sell municipal bonds for a year or something like that. That's not even a slap on the wrist. You can't sell municipal bonds anymore for a year. Oh, okay, yeah, that's too bad. So just want to throw that in there. A little bit irrelevant, but at the same time, it is kind of irrelevant. It kind of is relevant indirectly, I guess you could say, just because the same people operate the same way. So this Lagarde chick, Christine Lagarde, or is it Lagarde? Don't know, don't care. All of a sudden, this guy, the rapist, right? Well, let me get back on that, my train of thought, but while I got off of it for a minute. You know he didn't do it because he was held by the police and put in jail for a while, and the judge refused any amount of bonding him out. No bail out, or, could not make bail. You're stuck in here. That's the last we heard. That, to me, when you have an elitist like that, head of the IMF, in jail, that means he did something that the club didn't like. Again, did JP Morgan, anyone from there go to jail ever? Nope. Goldman Sachs? Nope. Fannie and Freddie Mae and anything else over there countrywide? Nope, 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 nope. Nope across the board. Oh yeah, but Bernie Madoff did. That's right. But Bernie Madoff was nobody. He wasn't a member of the club. So he's the donkey that they parade around. No, see, we are looking out for you guys. We got this guy, and let's show all these pictures of him in handcuffs and his sad face, and that's about as useful as coming out like they did not that long ago saying 100 mafia members arrested. Yeah. What is the little chicken shit mafia down here compared to the real big mafia, as Gerald Celente calls them, the white shoe boys? That's like stopping a guy who's constantly bringing in drugs, but he's only got like a few grams of marijuana. Every time every day, that's what he's doing, a few grams he's bringing down the highway. When you got jetliners, massive trucks, big rigs, packed full of the worst kind of drugs in the world, going down that same road, and the cops are constantly after that little guy with 5 grams, while the other guys, no, hands off, don't touch them. That big plane up there, big jumbo jet, don't touch it. These trucks coming in out here full of cocaine, don't touch them. Those are members of the club. And this guy, the 5-gram guy, he's interfering with our monopoly. So we're going to go ahead and let the cops get on this guy. That's how that works. So this IMF guy would never in your life or my life have been arrested, even much talked to, if any allegation. Well, they probably would have talked to him. Oh, you alleged rape? Do you have any proof? Well, no, he tried to, but he didn't do anything. Like, there was no penetration, or he wasn't able to make me do any sexual act, which is what the case is. He tried, is what she's saying, and that's it. Which is, I'm telling you now, is going to come to nothing. So, as soon as he said, okay, I stepped down from the IMF president, or head, CEO, whatever you want to call it, of the IMF. As soon as he said that, as you might guess what happened next? Judge sets bail for this guy, Van Strauss, or Strauss something, whatever his name is. And they got what they wanted. So then all of a sudden, the next news, Christine Lagarde looks at, promising Phil for that seat. Now, why do you think she's a promising candidate for the head of the IMF? Well, let's see. The IMF did, in fact, loan Greece some money. Did, in fact, have the EU loan Greece some money. And now this chick wants to run the IMF, right? So let's just read this article. Lagarde urges Greek asset sales, coy on IMF job. French Finance Minister Christine Lagarde urged Greece on last Friday, to press ahead with privatization plans to help it avert a threatened sovereign default, but ruled out any rescheduling of the country's debt. Which means, as I mentioned before, he asked for what amounts to a rescheduling of the debt. We can't make the payments. We implemented the austerity measures. We did what you said here. We did what you said there. For some reason, the economy sucks still so bad, even though you guys promised us it would get better if we did this. But whatever. We can't pay that back, so we need help extending the payments. That's what that means. Ruled out any rescheduling of the country's debt. You owe us this money right now, you better pay it. And if you can't pay it on time, we need, as she says, privatization. What does that mean? What does it mean when she wants them to press ahead with privatization plans? Let me just finish reading this. She said she would welcome any concessions made voluntarily by banks holding Greek bonds, however. Greece is threatened with state bankruptcy, she told Austrian newspaper Der Standard in an interview released ahead of publication on Saturday. On Monday, we, Eurozone finance ministers, expressed strong concerns about the sluggish progress. Together, these should suffice for now to spur the government in Athens to start the privatization, she added. Lagarde says she believed Europeans should play an active role in international organizations, but declined to comment on whether she was in line to head the International Monetary Fund. But as I just read you a minute ago, she is in line because of statements like this, and they know she'll get the job done. She's one of the club for sure. She says, I am pro-European and represent a Eurozone country, so I am naturally convinced that Europeans should be active in international organizations and have to show presence. Pressed on whether she would switch to the IMF, she said, I feel very flattered, but I will say nothing else about it. Of course you won't, because that's exactly where they'd like to put you. And as you just came out and said, we would like Greece to go ahead with privatization plans. The Greek government, you guys need to go ahead with this. So what is privatization? Privatization would be like, say for example, you have a publicly owned, in other words, government controls it, but it's public, it's for the public, democracy, therefore it's a public entity. Publicly owned water company, sewage company, trash company, all of these things. Toll roads, certain government buildings, even courthouses, even prison systems. Yes, all of those things can and will be, or if they have their way, will be privatized. Meaning, you have all these assets. We know you could get us paid back if you relinquish those assets. We'll pay you for all the assets. Matter of fact, the way we've got it figured out on paper here, exactly what you guys owe us. This is crazy. Exactly what you guys owe us will be paid off if you give us all of these assets, these privatization assets. And all the Greek government has to do, like many other third world countries that did this in the 80s and 90s, that got it taken advantage of by the IMF, will feel like they have no choice. Oh, we got to pay that money back. Hey, we got that money, guys. We got to pay it back. But wait a minute. All the people in Greece demanded violently, protests, Molotov cocktails, all over everything. Do not take that bailout money, because if they didn't take the bailout money, would the IMF or the EU be able to right now say, listen, we think you should go ahead with privatization plans? Why? We don't owe debt. We don't owe anything. Sure, our economy is sucking now, but so what? It's been sucking the whole time. That loan didn't really do anything. Just like the loan in America, the TARP funds didn't do anything. The trillions and trillions and trillions that were given from America to other countries, as well as the IMF and the EU dumping money all over the place over there, didn't do anything either. It just kind of flattened, lined everything out for a minute, just kind of put everything on pause basically for a short period of time, and now they push play again, and it completes right where they left off, except there's a lot more debt added during that pause period. So the average person would say, why would you even push pause, so to speak, and just hit play and let it go from the beginning, let it all collapse, and we'll start over without the freaking debt? Well, we can't have a new world order without debt. We can't have this great one world currency system without that debt, and we can't have sovereign states dictating to us what we want them to do, so we have to take over. And if you have a country or IMF organization or whatever coming in and taking over your waterways, water resources, oil resources, government prison systems, toll roads, what do you think? Let's just use a toll road and water company. Drinking water, of course, you can drink your own sink water if you want to, or get a filter, that's fine, but you got to pay for that service of water. You have to pay for the sewage service and the trash and oil. And let's say your country has that oil. You're doing great. Your gas in your country is great. You don't have any complaints about the price. But then it's privatized. People from the outside, IMF, right, all these guys come in and get all that stuff because you owed them money that really you didn't owe them, but the guy that they put in power in your country, who made sweetheart deals with, who apparently pretends to be your president or prime minister, who's actually working for them, they think that all of a sudden the people just, oh, hey, you guys voted him. He made the decision. Sorry. I mean, you guess you shouldn't have voted for him. You know, that's going to work. Like, that's going to stop a revolution from happening. And I can't wait for this to pick up speed. But, I mean, then they go in and all they will do is go in and raise the price. Got to raise the price on that water service. Got to raise the price on that gasoline, oil. We got to raise the price on your electric bill. Got to raise the price on your trash. But wait a minute. The people in our country are still suffering. in Greece, right? We still have 20 whatever percent unemployment. The kids there, I think it's like 25% unemployment for, like, young kids out of school waiting to get a job. Anyways, their income's not changing. So how can these countries come in, or that's not necessarily a country because the IMF's not a country, but how can a private organization like the IMF come in and then start raising all the prices on everything? And what are you going to do? Say no? You got to have water, don't you? Yeah. You got to have people coming to take the trash out, don't you? Yeah. You got to have electricity, don't you? Yeah. All of those resources were your countries. And the people you voted for, who are scumbags, who have egos, who of course are human, and greed can get to everybody practically, so it's not surprising that they sold everybody out. The problem is going to be when the country says we've had enough, and even if they go through with this privatization, the people can still at any given moment, even if the IMF owns every freaking asset in the country, they can still say, what the hell are we doing? What the hell did we allow? We stand out there, we picketed, we told them no, right? As we're trained and trained and trained. No violence, no violence. Peaceful protest, peaceful protest. Gotta be peaceful, gotta be peaceful. Let me ask you a question. Did any peaceful protest during any kind of revolutionary change in any country on the face of the earth, was it ever accomplished by standing somewhere and holding a sign? Because all the history that I've ever read shows that it takes a massive amount of violence, usually killing, hanging, top politicians. This is history I'm talking about right now. That's what it took to bring change. So if you use history as a guide, which is very smart to do so, you would come to the conclusion that the same thing's probably going to happen. How soon? Have no idea. Can't say that. We will all, whoever's watching this video right now, you will definitely be alive when it happens. I can assure you that. We all will. It'll be soon enough. And then they can realize, say, yeah, the IMF owns this water company. Yeah, not anymore. And then the people just go in there and take it over, take back over stuff that they thought the IMF owned, etc. But a lot of times people don't pay attention to this stuff, and they won't even recognize or even know that the IMF came in, scooped up the oil companies, scooped up the water companies, scooped up the electric company, and then started slowly raising the rates on everybody. And they start scratching, why is everything getting so expensive? Well, the water company just raised their rates again. Oh, the electric company raised their freaking rates again, and I can't believe that. As if it's the same company, when it kind of is, but the owners changed and said, hey, we like more money on the backs of you peasants, raise the rates. Well, the boss just said to do it. If you don't do it and you work at that power company or that water company, you just lost your job. You can't have that. How am I going to feed my kids? I don't want to be one of the 25%. And then it'll get to the point where I don't want to be one of the 30% out of work. And then it's going to get to the point, I don't want to be one of the 40%, 50%, however high it goes. Until finally, damn it, I am one of that X percent, whatever. Now I did lose my job. And, it's all a matter of people being awake or not. And the majority of people aren't awake. So how could you, if you were in Greece, how could you, skate through something like that? Well, if you had silver, if you'd been investing silver over the last several years, you would have quadrupled and then some your money. And again, it's going back to 50 and well beyond that. So saying quadrupling and that is going to be childish compared to where the prices go. And then you can sit back and not have to get involved during the real bad commotion period. But anyways, I just want to read that to you on how the elite come in and take even a sovereign country or a member of the EU, doesn't matter, a member state of the EU, doesn't really matter, and come in and just tell them what they need to do. Now, if Greece was smart and the people really took control before this happens, before privatization happens, they would make it clear there's no way in hell you're privatizing anything. And instead of Molotov cocktailing the stupid police over there who are standing there like a bunch of sheep themselves, they need to Molotov cocktail the people who are really at the top calling the shots. Because if it's like the squeaky wheel, right? They'll say the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So if you have all these wheels squeaking, not squeaking, but they want that oil, that one who squeaks the loudest, he's going to get the oil. Same thing. You have a guy calling the shots at the top, or a parliament, or whatever, and they're just sitting back, yeah, the police are out there, they'll handle it, no big deal. As soon as that guy walks outside, if he is grabbed, tackled, thrown into a car, he'd be so fearful of his life, without even having to touch him, without even having to threaten him. He'd be so fearful of his life. Okay, I'll do anything you want. I'm sorry. I know you guys don't want this privatization. He would be begging for his life, even though you didn't have to threaten him with his life. They would just do it as soon as you grab them. But as long as they're protected, got the police outside. If the police don't do what we say, we fire them. So not only that, we're going to give them a raise, like they did in Zimbabwe, so that they protect us. Same type of thing happened in Rome. And I'm going to do another video right after this regarding an awesome, what is his name? Armstrong. Martin Armstrong, I think is his name. Great historical references about the Roman Empire and how history is absolutely positively repeating itself right now. Just technology has changed. I've always said that too. Everything's the same but technology. It's the only difference. And I'm going to do that video next. So anyways, this is it for now, and take care.